because I'm doing this in the same session room, right? And then at the end of the last one, Luke was like, "Oh, but I wanted to do my Bill Clinton impression," so I did like a short recording for him to do that.
Am I gonna get to hear this?
But yeah, I recorded it. I'm gonna edit it back in.
Okay.
So, and that we were talking to Dr. McDonald, right? So I got to ask her what's like the most whack idea that you gave Star Trek that they used.
Yeah.
The answer for that was the coronal ejection from season 3 of Discovery. She was like, they're not going to go with that. And that's like the basis of the whole season. So I don't know if you got to season 3 of that, but yeah, you did.
No, but I did. I started into which season of Discovery?
3, the burn. She was
Okay, yeah, no.
burn.
See, I watched a good amount of the first one, the first series, the first season rather.
Mm-hmm. It is a show. When it started, I think the idea was for it to be like an anthology. Like each season would be like a different crew, different everything, which they kind of ended up doing in the end because every season is so different and the situation of the ship is so different in every season.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have the same cast. They have a lot more change in cast than Trek usually does as well. So they kind of half did that in the end, I think.
Yeah, that was one of my things. This like I was in for Michelle Yeoh mostly, and then
she comes back. She's a regular in season 3.
Yeah, no, that's what I heard. So I'm like, oh god, but do I need to watch all of 2?
And it's all nasty, angry Michelle Yeoh as well. So,
oh man, I'll take any and all forms.
Right. Yeah, we did just do that movie Monday. We recorded that podcast for Everything Everywhere all at once.
Did you all ever do Sunshine?
It's certainly one. I mean, it's in my DVD case, so it's definitely one to get to at some point.
Okay, because I remember she was in that as well.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I watched Sunshine, but yeah, I do. I like that one.
Yeah, it's one of Dee's favorites.
Like, yeah, I know
when I met her.
Yeah, I know it's a little decisive for some people. There's definitely not people are not into that movie. You know,
I mean, it's not the happiest experience, and so some people think I felt bad, so the movie's not good.
It's it's not like Passengers where you're like, man, this could be a good movie if they didn't just like shit their pants.
I didn't I didn't go see Passenger, but I did try to watch some of it.
You know the plot, right?
Yeah, no, I started on it and I was just like, I don't even like this.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
I'm just not a Chris Pratt guy.
No, but yeah, just because you're like, man, the design of this movie is like fucking great, you know?
No, it did. They just
it moves well. It's just like, wow, what's happening in this is like a little like you want me to like identify with this guy, but he's doing like the most horrible thing ever.
No, he was that was the thing. I'm like, do you want anything but death to happen to this guy?
Before we start, let me just move my notes from contact to my double Casey. Because I was like about to start doing the trivia and I was like, wait a minute, I feel like I've done the trivia. And then I was like, so I don't even remember when that means I definitely thought I was about to record this at some point and then didn't. And I don't remember why. So,
well, initially, we had talked about doing it 2 weeks ago.
Maybe that's when I did it.
You were looking for someone to do it. And then I said, yeah, but then I guess the person that you originally was going to do it was able to come do it, and then maybe that then changed. I don't know,
something like that. Anyway, now you're doing it. And I'm going to get the prologue, but yeah, that meant that they gave it 2 note-taking views, so that's good. Sorry, I'm going to have to put down my mic for a moment.
Sorry.
That's there. I guess I'll turn off my fan. Oh yeah, I did that game show as well. What was it? What was the last round? Because I told you the one round with the dirty 2600 games, I believe. Trying to remember what I did for the last one. Oh, okay. Maybe you will like this. Here, I'll run you through the round. I'm going to give you a quote from a video game adaptation, and you tell me what movie it's from.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, nobody got these right because it's just basically the quotes are funny, right? Okay.
Right. So it's just kind of the design of it is entertainment purposes only.
But you might know one or two. I don't know because you've seen some movies. So here's first one. Your incompetence sticks needles into the flesh of my honor.
Oh, is this Street Fighter?
You're very close.
Mortal Kombat?
Think the other direction.
Oh God. Ugh.
Like this is closer than Mortal Kombat, I would say, to Street Fighter. Although it's not a fighting, it's not. Well, actually, no, it's not because it's a platform game. But Double Dragon.
Okay. Well,
you
it's
say
closer than I.
Yeah, you say Street Fighter, and I guess they do have different gameplay, but yeah.
Yeah, Double Dragon. That's the one where they're the white guy playing the Asian, and then
Something
the other
like
one
that.
is it Mark Dacascos or is it?
I didn't necessarily watch these movies. I was just going to IMDb and finding the most wacky quotes I could.
Okay.
I haven't.
I
seen
know I
many
saw
video,
it, but
I haven't
yeah.
seen many video game adaptations. Okay. The earth was created in 6 days, so too shall it be destroyed. And on the 7th day, mankind will rest in peace.
Oh God, that's great. Oh man, is this Dead or Alive? Or no, I'm sorry, House of the Dead.
No, this is your Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat
That's Mortal
Annihilation.
Kombat.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
This happened
House
in the
of the
show
Dead.
too, where they guess the movie in different places. Okay, here's
Okay.
one. Rain? Fuck no.
But that's Mortal Kombat. No?
Nah, that's Resident Evil.
Is it? Shit. I've watched that whole series very recently.
I've just tangled your brain. That's the problem because you give the right answers for different quotes.
No, because I was thinking Rain from Big Trouble in Little China, and there's a character in Mortal Kombat that is like reminiscent of him.
Oh, speaking of which, it was in the middle of our Everything Everywhere podcast where we finally realized that was short round, like while recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, did you not know this?
No, I knew. I knew
Okay.
going in. That,
Okay,
yeah, I read a whole interview with him about
you're like,
that.
Luke's on the phone. He's like, okay, what else was he? Holy shit, he's short round.
Yeah. No, that voice. I mean, he basically has the same voice he had when he was a kid, which is
now I get it. It's just, you're looking at an OG-san now, right? So
yeah.
Okay, I got a few more quotes for you before we get
Did Luke like that movie, by the way?
Oh yeah, he loved it.
Cool.
I loved it, and he liked it more than I did. So
okay.
I just like the fact that now I can't be made fun of quite as much for wearing a designer like fanny pack around.
Yeah, I show you some moves with that thing.
Yeah. Here's the next quote. I was supposed to have a baby with my ex-wife, and the doctor was helping us make the baby, did help us make the baby, but unfortunately I wasn't in the room.
That's not Mario Brothers.
I didn't put any Mario Brothers quotes in because I know that Luke had just gotten the Blu-ray of Mario Brothers. So
okay. My God, what's that one from?
Pixels.
Is Pixels was that a game, or is it just like got a lot of game shit in it?
It is Pac-Man in it. That's enough. Pixels itself was not a game, but it's got So my bonus question is how many levels of Pac-Man lets you quote unquote win the game, which you win Pac-Man by breaking the game. Because you get to level 256 and you can't play anymore. It breaks the game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Here's the next one. I am your servant, but if you leave the compound, I am honor bound to kill you.
Holy shit. I'm just going to keep saying Street Fighter until it's Street Fighter.
None of these quotes are Street Fighter. That was one of your previous guesses, though, which was Dead or Alive.
Oh, was it Dead or Alive? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The House of the Dead was the one that I actually... It's the only movie I've gone to see in the theater that I thought was actively trying to piss me off.
I
mean,
looked at the quote page. There were a few where I looked at the quote page and it's like none of these are good. So like because it's like
no,
Alone in the Dark or whatever or what I don't know. I looked up a few like notorious bad ones. I'm like it doesn't even have good quotes, you know. So
no, but I did remember one of the things in House of the Dead that stuck with me is the one character asked the villain, "Why do you want to be immortal?" And he goes, "So I can live forever."
I saw that. That was the only one that when I think I was like maybe that works, but I was like, well, out of context, it's like kind of whatever, you know. But
No, but I was just like, this movie thinks I'm a dumbass. Like, I
okay,
was so mad.
I got two more. These are the ones that
Okay.
are just like amazing. Like it adds lack of context adds a lot to these quotes. I think that's the
Okay.
first one. I'm gonna lock myself in a motel room with a bottle of tequila and 3 she boys.
What is that from?
No guess. No guess.
Well, I mean, I would think it's Grand Theft Auto or something, but there's not been a movie of this.
That is from Doom.
It's from oh yeah, I forgot they
There's
made that
the
movie.
yeah. There's that one. There's the one like asshole military guy that
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
come up and stuff or whatever. That's that dude.
yeah.
Okay, the last one. And you shall know that the final day of reckoning will be at hand, because on that day a tiny entertainer will be raped by 1,000 monkeys. I'm gonna guess you didn't see this movie. I don't think anyone saw this movie.
Oh, well, it doesn't sound like some. It sounds like something would be a subtitle, not something I would actually remember someone saying in English.
Well, that's Postal. You got to get a Uwe Boll movie in your bad video game
Oh
quotes.
yeah, I don't. I Uwe Boll did House of the Dead. That may have been the only one of his I saw because I was like, oh, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
so I was guessing you probably haven't gotten that. I mean, he's basically what making movies as a tax write-off.
Yeah, yeah, and he famously fought a movie critic in a boxing match and kicked the shit out of him.
Okay, that's slightly funny.
No, it's really funny. No, I was
Yeah,
like, God, I wish I liked his movies before because that's badass.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, apparently I found out he like quote unquote retired in 2016, at least from directing. I guess he still produces, but he finally, I guess, took a hint for making them himself.
Well, I mean, you know, he
He
say
built
what you
a
want about him. I think there'll be book written about him.
oh yeah, give it 20 years and that's I mean someone's gonna look at all of that like I don't want to say Russ Meyer because his movies are actually too good, but like one of those 60s schlock, like a Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because he just had that personality,
It's
too.
kind of like you need to like I think you kind of that sort of thing you have to divorce yourself for time wise for a while before it really starts to shine. So I mean it might not ever be a shine turd, but it could be. So
Yeah. No, once the people that were around to know just how terrible it was, or it's like now, you look at this Al Adamson box set that I have, or the oh god, what was the one that was really I don't even remember, but the movies were not good, and I was just like, wow.
right.
Uh,
Before I get wrong, I'm gonna actually close my windows and go to air conditioner mode. It just rained and now it's just like muggy.
yeah, yeah, I hear you.
There we go. Okay. So we'll do it. I'll see that little thing there. Welcome. It's Time Enough podcast, where we talk about episodes of the Twilight Zone and beyond. This is Matt here. Today is with me. Today is with me. Yeah, sure. Why not? Hi, Andrew. Getting a little backwards there. I'm the backwards man.
Backwards, bad, backwards. Well, that's you've recorded how many other podcasts today? I mean,
Just one other. It's not really the end of the world,
right. It could be podcast fatigue.
Yeah. You never know. Of course, I brought you here because you're a massive baseball fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I know any massive baseball fans, at least not any that want a podcast. So
No, I mean, I would be a fan if an actual massive baseball showed up, because it would probably maybe fall on someone, and that'd be funny.
oh yeah, that'd be cool. But
Yeah. I mean, not me, but
Yeah. Well, if it's a big bouncy ball, it might be fun. It's like
oh no, that would.
like Patrick McGowan constantly getting bounced by that ball in The Prisoner.
Sure. And then it would possibly take out more than one.
That's usually the funniest part of The Prisoner. So when Rover shows up. That and when he screams with no reason to scream. That's also fun. But anyway, today the Mighty Casey, a baseball themed one. Why did I try writing this as the prologue? Portrait of one Rodman Edward Serling, age 36. He is sitting by the pool and dictating this episode of The Twilight Zone. I don't know why I wrote it that way. I guess I just got that image in my head. It's like near the end of season 1, and he was like, oh God, I got to crank out another script,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying like it's a crap episode necessarily, but I'm just saying like I imagine like he was having his own little bit of fatigue, but he was. That's like documented.
Yeah, well, it's one of the few comedies, like out and out comedies. I mean, there's there's really not any sort of darkness to this that I can.
I have some for you. I haven't finished the trivia yet. Anyway,
has it got to do with the original leading actor?
Oh yeah. Okay. And then something else. There's actually a few things in this episode that are not so funny, but the air date was June 17th, 1960, and the music is by somebody named Stock.
So like his work.
Yeah. This is one of those. Okay, here's where the things get. I got some darkness at the beginning and some darkness at the end.
Okay.
The directing credit is shared between Alvin Ganzer and Robert Parrish, the latter of whom also directed season 1 episodes, One for the Angels and A Stop at Willoughby. The other one sounding like it's a baseball episode, and it wasn't. The reason for this is that that baseball manager, Mouth McGarry, was originally played by Paul Douglas, who had a similar role in 1951's Angels in the Outfield. Douglas died a day after filming Wrapped, and the producers decided to recast him, as they noted that his ill health was actually quite visible on screen. So thus reshoots were necessary, and Gonzer was no longer available, so Parrish came in to pinch hit. The Mouth McGarry we get on screen is played by Jack Warden. He's one of those character actor faces and he would later receive Best Supporting Actor nominations for his roles in Shampoo and Heaven Can Wait. Can't wait. Did I type it wrong? I don't remember. I suppose he got on well with Warren Beatty. He'd win an Emmy for his role in Brian's Song. Abraham Sofaer. Oh, okay. Sofaer. How do you say that?
Sofer.
Sure. Played Dr. Stillman. The Burmese-born actor had a career that evolved from Broadway to film to television. It's the last of those that caught my fancy, as Sofer. Sofer appeared on 2 episodes of Star Trek and appeared in other sci-fis like Lost in Space and The Time Tunnel. I've got to also note his role as Haji, the master of all genies on I Dream of Genie, as well as serving as Peter Tork's Swami in the Monkees film Head.
Huh.
And yes, the other bit of darkness, Casey was played by Robert Sorrells. He's another one of those guys that showed up on every TV Western, but also another one of those guys that stumbled into the real life Twilight Zone. In a dark turn of events, he was tried and convicted of murder in 2004 and died in prison a few years later. So I got to admit, the number of disturbing fates attached to season 1 Twilight Zone actors is kind of disturbing.
Yeah. Well, what was the original McGarry? What was that guy's name?
Sorry, scrolled up. Jack Ward. No, that's not.
No, he is
new one. Paul Douglas. Paul Douglas.
Okay, so from what I remember reading is that Douglas, like, they weren't digging. I don't think Serling dug him from the get-go. He had a bad feeling about him. But yeah, like you said in the trivia, he was actually like, there was visibly something wrong with him, and their assumption was that he was drunk. But his agent or manager, whoever, was like, no, I assure you, he's definitely not. And he was like dying.
Right.
So they filmed that, and then from what I understand, they didn't do a ton of reshoot. They saved everything that they could have,
Right.
because they were having to go back to that. It's not even a real stadium. It's some kind of Hollywood stadium, like some kind of set or something like that, I think. So then he died, and they were like, should we just scrap the show? And they're like, no, it already, you're in the hole for this one. So they had to. I think Serling paid with his own one.
Yeah, and definitely it's kind of like, I guess there's enough of him in it that is an somewhat extensive reshoot, even if you're saving a fair amount, because he's on screen for quite a bit of this. So
yeah.
Here is a prologue for you to tell us.
All right, here we go. Now, my Serling, having heard the great one that was done by one of your other guests, my Serling is going to be getting weirder and weirder as it goes.
This is baseball Serling, baseball announcer Serling.
Yeah.
If you want
What you're looking at is a ghost, once alive but now deceased. Once upon a time, it was a baseball stadium that housed a major league ball club known as the Hoboken Zephyr. Now it houses nothing but memories and a wind that stirs the high grass of what was once an outfield. A wind that sometimes bears a fart. Faint, ghostly resemblance to the roar of a crowd that once sat there. We're back in time now, when the Hoboken Zephyrs were still a part of the National League, and this mausoleum of memories was an honest-to-Pete stadium. But since this is strictly a story of make-believe, it has to start this way. Once upon a time, in Hoboken, New Jersey, it was tryout day. And though he's not yet on the field, you're about to meet a most unusual fella, a left-handed pitcher named Keith.
I'm left-handed. Except
Jimi
for music.
Hendrix.
No, music, I'm right-handed. I'm left-handed for everything except music, which makes it easier to buy guitars, fortunately. But baseball bats, I don't think baseball bats matters. There's not like a left-handed base. There are gloves, there are, sure. But
yes.
I would play baseball left-handed if I were to play baseball, which I'm pretty sure I wouldn't. Especially not at this age. It's not time to start playing baseball by any means.
Oh, come on, man. Where are your knees at?
Yeah. I don't think either of us are even sports fans, but I've had a few baseball hits. Sorry, the pun. Oops. I remember like a few blocks from our house growing up there being like kind of a card shop, and just it being kind of fun because we could like walk there and not have to get someone to drive us there, and that being a destination just because it was there.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot in the way of the things we were interested in.
It was the other 7-Eleven, right? So
yep. That's where I got my issues of heavy metal.
Now we get Korean barbecue. It's too bad we aren't kids here now.
Korean barbecue. My whole existence would have changed if I had that easy access to Korean barbecue.
We'd be sitting here like 300 pounds doing this podcast.
I was going to say, I don't know that either of us would be like vertical at this point.
And the other one is I did sometimes as a kid, like put on the radio of a game when going to bed, like I kind of was white noise.
Yeah.
That kind of worked. Like I didn't really care that much about like the game or who won or any of that. It just made good white noise going to sleep or something.
My fraternal grandmother, who also lived in our neighborhood, she was a big Atlanta Braves fan before they were had any sort of success in our lifetime. And so she would wear her satin Braves jacket while out walking the neighborhood, and the kids at school would clown me because the Braves were notoriously awful back then. And then she passed away right during their winning season. like the first that World Series winning season of the early 90s there.
Right.
So it was almost just like maybe, she kicked their ass from the afterlife, I like to think.
It's like Philip K. Dick, not well, I guess he did actually see a cut of Blade Runner, but like instantly croaked. Or actually, like I said before this, we were doing a Contact podcast, and we're like, did Carl Sagan actually see this first? Because it was like about the same time. So
Yeah.
it is weird how sometimes those things kind of line up that way. But as far as this is, I mean, I guess we got enough sci-fi in here. We have our android, we have our the Data, Lieutenant Commander Data of baseball here, basically.
They wanted to call him, oh no, I'm thinking of this movie Brian and Charles that I just watched about a guy who builds his own artificial intelligent robot.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, there's Ex Machina too, right? So I mean,
oh yeah, oh well, that's a classic.
I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen someone try and build a lifelike robot. We so when sometimes we're like, is it the first time on the Twilight Zone? It's like, no, we had Metropolis. So
yeah, and yeah, it is one of those lighter episodes, but I don't think it is. I don't know. The message is like really, really clear, I think.
Okay, we'll go ahead and give it just in case. I mean, I guess so, but yeah, say it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is when well, the plot is that Casey is a robot, and of course they see him because they're the doctor reveals like, oh, I brought him to you because you were the suckiest teen around, and and so that's the best way to help anyone or show what it can really do by letting him join a losing team and seeing how he can turn it around. Of course, he's really great at pitching, and they begin to win, and this is all kind of compressed what they show. And then he's hit and he goes to the hospital, and that kind of surprised me because I was like, okay, well,
they know what the story is. Why are they taking him there?
Well, yeah, that was weird. And also he gets hit with a ball when you first see it, and it like clung off of his head and he's fine. And so it was odd to me that it happens again and then suddenly he's out. So yeah, they take him to the hospital, and the thing is they are trying to hide the fact that this guy is a robot so that no one accuses him of cheating. But of course, when they get him in the hospital, he doesn't have a heartbeat. And they're like, well, he's got to have a heart or he's not a man. And if he's not a man, he can't be on the baseball team because we got rules about this. But once he gets the heart, you kind of know what to expect. He's gonna do something that anyone with a heart would do, which is he no longer has the competitive spirit. He just wants to play. And of course, these guys are, hate that. That's like playing any board game with me. Like, aren't you trying to win? Actually, no. I just like moving the thing around the thing. I don't want you on my team. No one wants me on their team. So I'm with Casey. But yeah, so the doctor gives him a heart, not unlike the the Wizard of Oz or something. And he's like, I think I want to be a vegan. No, what does he want to do? Oh, he wants to be a social worker or something like that.
Let's see if I put that in.
Yeah, and he quits the team. And so to me, the message there is just like, well, if you've got a heart, you will care about others, and that to me is pretty kind of on the nose for Twilight Zone.
Well, I'm looking at my notes from a few weeks ago where I wrote, no true baseball player has compassion. Bastard, he just wants to help people.
What a bastard. Yeah. Like, well, but there could, and of course you could read into that knowing Serling's personal politics, and just know that that's kind of a glossy sort of metaphor for the way that he believes one should behave. I mean, for all I know, he maybe just detested a competition and things of that nature, and the kind of attitudes and people that come out of the competitive world.
Can't pitch with a derpy grin on your face.
That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that a lot of people with Twilight Zone were like, okay, well, he's got a heart, so is he gonna like murder somebody, or is he,
Well,
you
apparently
know
he
you're
is.
you're well, holy shit, right? But I'm gonna look that up because I didn't know about that. I think that yeah, I don't know if this is a favorite episode because there isn't so much to it, but I think it's one of my favorites because there isn't so much to it.
Is
I don't
roll
think
with
it's
it.
well, I think it's I love watching Twilight Zone episodes one after the other. And this one is a bit between some creepy ones and heavy ones. So you know, if this was on, its original air date or whatever, people that couldn't wait for the next, you know, gotcha story or whatever were maybe disappointed. But when you sit and watch them like I do in a marathon, uh, it's great. It's like Mighty Casey's here. Everything's going to be okay.
We did
Because
get Mr. We
the
did get
endings aren't
Mr.
always this
Beavis.
way.
Yeah, we did get Mr. Beavis 2 weeks earlier, but
Mm.
so there's that. But I think this one, like you said, because of the production issues, actually was. I think it was like originally going to be like way earlier in the running order, like closer to like the start of the season even, and ended up near the tail end.
Yeah, because Jack Warden was in one of the earlier episodes. What was that one? The Lonely, right?
That's the one that I most would like. Maybe that's even a problem because that kind of takes the same issue and does
Mhm.
it like really kind of like philosophically deep, where this one's more of a giggle.
It is, but I think it needs both. Twilight Zone to have the sort of timeless dynamics that it does. I don't know if I could keep watching episodes that end like The Lonely ends.
Oh,
You
of
know?
course, yeah. That's the let's get the hell out of here ending, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. You
but
know,
yeah. I mean, there's certain moods. Like I watched this one probably 3 or 4 times as usual, and I enjoyed watching it each time. So
Mhm.
don't get me wrong. I'm not slamming. I'm just saying, yeah, obviously it's a little more of a trifle or something. I mean, the
Yeah.
week
I mean,
before this was After Hours, so maybe people did need a little bit of decompress.
that's kind of what I always think about it as, because I didn't originally, as a young person, I didn't watch them in order. I watched them in whatever miscellaneous order that the TV station would play them on New Year's. But in the age of DVD, we can watch them in the original sequence. And yeah, Mighty Casey is just more of like, I don't know. I know there critically would have been nothing really to dig into necessarily. Um,
I was
but
actually sitting here though thinking I was going to be like, okay, let me read off the comedic episodes of season 1 and we can compare. But then I'm like, well, some of them is it a comedic one or not? So
it's open to interpretation. So, but Mighty Casey is most certainly, if not funny, well, gosh, Jack Warden is just hilarious, and so he gets a lot of really funny lines in the show. And so, but I think though it could be classified. I would classify it as comedy.
this one for
You know.
sure. I was just looking at some other episodes such as What You Need, which has some comedic elements, but still is a little has some rawness still. Time
Oh
Enough at
yeah,
Last is somewhat comedic, but
God, it needs it.
yeah, exactly. It needs it as well. So
That's
whereas
just
this
good writing. Yeah.
Elegy has some Captain Wacky music, but they all end up, getting murdered or poisoned. So,
Yeah.
whereas this one just has like, hey, the robot's got a heart and he don't want to play anymore. Sorry, the baseball team is closed. Go home.
Yeah. But but that's great for thinking of the time period and what masculinity was supposed to be and what masculinity was supposed to look like and mean and what men's behavior was always supposed to be. Um, the fact that he had no heart and he played this masculine sport with all men, and then once he gets a heart, he wants to actually help people. I mean, I think that like a lot of Sterling stuff, very bold for its time. But it would have been interesting to just be on a fly on the wall in the average household, and see that sort of, like, oh, that stinks, or what are they saying about me? I like baseball. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What did you make of Dr. Stillman? I
I'm
guess he's the other notable character here, other than, well, yeah, Casey and Mouth.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about Stillman is that though he didn't give him a heart, it was, I feel like, Stillman's heart that led him to create this, the Casey in the first place. I didn't think that, his sole purpose was, oh, let's see if we can, because a lot of times you have these movies where, like, I didn't create him as a weapon, but they're using him as a weapon. He didn't seem to be like, okay, well, I want this baseball team to win because I was somehow getting a kickback or whatever. He just wanted to help them. And so I think Casey with a heart more mirrors his creator than perhaps Casey without one.
That could be the case. And just having the ability to make your own decisions, right? Because obviously he's a bit more without a heart. He's more of, well, he is an automaton. It's like go and pitch,
Mm-hmm. No, and that's sort of the way that they wanted to use him. Had they made him more robot looking, of course they couldn't tell the same story, because the whole point is that he can pass as a human being. But you know what I mean? Had it been sort of known that he was a robot in appearance, I think that would have been, they could have maybe gotten away with having just be sort of functional rather than have any sort of humanity to him.
Well, I think we did actually. I mean, not here, but we did kind of get that a bit of that vibe in the second Renaissance of the Animatrix, where they do show very robot looking robots trying to join in with regular society, and it doesn't go well at all.
Oh God, well, see, but that reminded me of RoboCop 2, where their attempts to create another one, they all killed themselves. I don't know if you remember, that was a very disturbing part of that film.
As you may have heard on my recent RoboCop, it's, oh, there's RoboCop, and I think they made something else.
I'll admit I don't tend to revisit part 3, but I did not hate that remake that they did. Didn't hate it. In fact, I found the images of Murphy all splayed about, with the parts that they did keep, to be equally as disturbing as anything Verhoeven did in the first one, when Murphy is, because one thing he spares us with all that ultra violence is actually the sight of what's left of Murphy. And the remake didn't do that.
Yeah. I both that and the Total Recall remakes, I feel like the biggest issue with those movies is they should have called it something else.
Yeah, a Total Recall, was there like no Mars in it at all? If I remember
Mars,
correctly?
but they do pass through the center of the Earth, so there's a little bit of a cool. The book doesn't have Mars, so
Okay. Well, I just remember thinking, like, okay, Schwarzenegger doesn't look like an everyman at the beginning of this story. He already looks like some sort of a superhero. I have my same feelings with the Shining. I don't feel as though Jack Nicholson looks like the most sane fellow as soon as you see him.
He's nutso from the start in that movie, which is, to me, it's the charm. But yeah.
Yeah. But I would always wonder what Robin Williams would have done with it.
Why did I write this stop or my mom will pitch? Sometimes I don't know why I write these notes.
That's funny, dude. I mean, I get that reference.
I do like well, I guess we haven't been shaking hands much recently, but there's always the manly handshake where heartless Casey just basically goes around breaking hands.
Yeah, he all but crushes Jack Warden's hand, to the point where even after a long scene, long after the handshake has taken place, he's clearly been suffering the effects of that handshake.
Oh, here's where they push the quote unquote comedy a little too far. Those ball sound effects were just like wrong.
Okay,
They let you slide whistle.
Yeah. Talk about not showing stuff. Most of the most extraordinary things that Casey is able to do as a pitcher do not happen on screen. It probably for budgetary reasons. He's got what did they say, he had a corkscrew, or what was it that he does? But clearly all the characters are sort of following the slide whistle sound, and it appears as though he's doing something with a pitch that's just so out of this world that it's kind of hard to believe nobody was like, oh, robot.
Yeah, I don't think robots can break the laws of physics, people.
Or burn it. Kill it with fire.
Well, that would be the fear, though. I mean, that's kind of what the like. How does when they discover he's a robot at the hospital? There's like, well, we'll just give him a heart. Everyone's cool with it. They aren't like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
This-
No, and it's kind of surprising how agreeable the official then becomes when it's like, well, okay, put a heart in him. Like, okay, few questions. No one, yeah, nobody questions it. It's like, of course, we'll do it. We'll get him back on the team.
what did the newspaper headline say? Casey struck, was it?
Beamed.
Beamed. Oh, that's why I wrote this. Okay. See, I'd pay money to have that headline changed to Casey teabagged. That's that would rival legs cut off from Blood Feast as the perfect newspaper headline.
Would it though? I mean, legs cut off. I used to do this, and I got it. Could have easily just bounced back at me, but when I worked in news composition, I could have easily changed the headline any night to legs cut off exclamation point, just randomly, instead of Georgia wins, legs cut off. It doesn't look bad.
So how many times did you do that?
A few, but it got to where I was so scared that we might actually run that. But I have like a printout of like a large format laser printout of one of them. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That'll be a story though. What? Oh, you don't work at the paper anymore. Yeah. Why is that?
What happened? What's the story there?
Remember that paper a few months ago? And everyone, I don't know. Hey, they would have promoted you because that would have just sold. That would have flown off the racks.
Through the yeah. No, I would hate to have been whoever was in the photo under that giant masthead, because they had ones that were for breaking news. Like I think they called them some crazy like nuclear war or something like that, or disaster. Like they had a template for some just like horrifying, or you know what I mean, just gigantic. I was like, well, this one's doing legs cut off. I just want to see what that looks like.
Yeah, that is a horrible photo to have on the front. Not good for the breakfast edition.
Yeah, I don't even know if teabagged would have fit.
No, it didn't. I just thought it was funny. Oh, you mean like the letters wouldn't?
Yeah, I don't know if it would have made it in there.
They could have used like a thinner font or something.
Yeah, some headline too. Like the big one would be war, and then good God, y'all, as the subhead.
I've had people. I've been lazy and sitting down in chairs too hard and going and making a sound, and I think it was twice within 1 week. 2 different people were like, "War, good God, y'all." The same joke happened like within a week with completely different amazing people, because I sit down like an imbecile apparently now. Let's do a few questions. Question 1, of course, is who, if anyone, entered the Twilight Zone in this episode?
Oh my goodness. I almost feel like that's a behind the scenes question.
Oh, behind the scenes, there certainly was.
For this one, given that,
keep it on screen for a moment.
Oh my goodness. Maybe the coach went to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, because I'm thinking he didn't, like, he loses his job shortly thereafter, but I guess that was, it looked like he was about to lose it anyway. So
yeah, no, it was going to happen. This guy doesn't have a future where he is.
I mean, maybe the doctor is of the Twilight Zone, but he's just like it's a really like toothless version of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. When I thought about him, that was one of the questions that came up first with me, and I'm like, no. So, and I don't think Casey, because we know where Casey went.
Well, I was actually going to throw it out. Maybe he's having a bit of a reverse Twilight Zone, whereas in a lot of Twilight Zone, someone is like, agency is taken away or some sort of consciousness is warped, whereas Casey starts off that way, and by the end of the episode, I'm good, guys.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Casey's kind of like so maybe he did go through the Twilight Zone. He just took the reverse journey, because I guess we're to assume he's relatively sentient at the end of the episode just because he has a heart. I don't think that would do it really, but maybe it does. I don't know. In the rules of this episode, it does.
I'm fine with saying this. If you watch the Mighty Casey in reverse, Casey goes to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, okay. So it's a reverse Twilight Zone, which
I'm good with that.
Okay, it makes my second question a little like more like I don't know what to say about though. Like, does the person who went into the Twilight Zone deserve it? I feel like we didn't even nail who we are talking about.
Okay, well, all right. Well, if we go with my original answer, which was the manager, which is
Okay,
Jack Warden's
let's go the
character.
manager.
Okay, so if we go with that, um, I think, yeah, I think so.
I just feel like he wasn't affected that much by the Twilight Zone. Like if anything, it's like his team played a couple months longer than they might have otherwise.
I don't know. I mean,
Hell, even that might not have changed because I mean, even if you're a terrible team, they don't just like cancel you in the middle of the season, do they? You play out the
but
season.
He was cheating.
Yeah, yeah. So you think that if Casey had not been on the team, that they would have maybe just continued as a terrible team?
I don't know. He would have definitely lost his job, but I think that now, given the you take the story as it is, yeah, if he went to the Twilight Zone, he deserves.
So
Yeah,
he
was
deserves more than he got then.
Yeah, well, at least that. I mean, if we're talking about like some sort of justice system as dictated by this particular episode, I feel as though, because you don't want, it's one of those things where you want to see him win because of how much of a loser he is, but you can't really feel good about how he did it, and he ultimately I don't think could have either, because he's a cheater.
So you're just pointing a finger and calling him a cheater.
I mean,
but you don't do that in a board game because you don't care.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't care. But no, I'm not calling him a cheater because that's what I think of him. I'm calling him a cheater because that's what he is.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I just had an image of like taunting the guy like a 5-year-old taunting a guy or something.
Oh my god, no. George Carlin had the best thing about Monopoly. He's like, some guys would be like, "Oh man, you're coming down my side." He just would talk about how his heart wasn't in it. He would have plans, excavation, but no actual property. Some guys really care. That's what he said. It's like, I've played with a few of my brother-in-laws that way.
Let's place this guy on the tripometer. That's our 0 to 5. What do you want to give it? I give my answer first if you want. I usually wait, but
I'm thinking like 2.5.
Okay.
Are you going higher than that or lower than that?
I'm going to make you explain your 2 or 2.5 first.
Because the idea of the robot is kind of like okay, but the notion of being able to give him a heart, like Wizard of Oz style, it makes you wonder, like, oh god, okay, it's functioning somehow. So like, what did he do? Exactly. Like, did he have inside any sort of organs or circulatory system, or did he just give him like something that beats, and if so, why does he have a conscience because of it?
They just take a pig heart and like toss it inside.
Right, like clunk clunk, like some uncooked chicken. So I put it there because no, in terms of Twilight Zone, and we don't want this to be an exception because it's one of the lighter ones or a comedy. In terms of Twilight Zone, no, this doesn't reach a solid 3 or 4 for me. It's on the low end, but only because of that curiosity that I had. It is weird.
Okay, I had my answer spring loaded. 1, baseball's not trippy.
Okay.
Baseball's the opposite of trippy.
People do trip, but not. Didn't some pitcher pitch a winning game on acid? Isn't that an old story? That's
I think that's
Bonham. What I mean?
Bonham played for like 3 hours on acid, man. But
that's different.
No, I know it's different.
Yeah.
Well, he uses sticks though. It's like a baseball bat, so drumsticks. I want to hear this. I don't think I've heard what you're talking about. It looks like you are about to tell me.
Okay. His name was Doc Ellis.
I feel like I recognize the name.
Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Threw a no-hitter on June 12th, 1970, and later stated that he accomplished the feat under the influence of LSD.
Maybe
He was a
So many-
starting pitcher for the National League in the All-Star game in 71, and later that year, the Pirates won the World Series.
So they should make an educational film about about taking drugs with that situation.
I mean, it does sound a bit like, you know, he did have a drug problem, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
later.
What's the Bill Hicks headline? Local teenager takes LSD and learns the meaning of reality. Something like that.
Yeah, good old Bill. But yeah, that I couldn't remember who it was, but I remember once reading about him. So yeah, his name was Doc Ellis, and yeah, he died in 2008, aged 63.
Little on the young side, but you know,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing with athletes. Like, you're basically putting yourself in an early grave most of the time.
Oh, you're trashed. Yeah, and now what they're saying about athletes who have gotten COVID, you
Yeah.
know, the long-term effects of an athlete
Mm.
versus a non-athlete. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about how, you know, like Muhammad Ali, just he was spent what 15 years so much at his prime that once he was past it, he just fell apart, you know?
I mean, that's the way I remember it.
Yeah. Is so yeah, yeah. In baseball, I feel like people tend to retire a little later in baseball. I want to say about my age is when you retire from baseball, if I remember correctly. Like, well,
Yeah, yeah.
early 40s, mid 40s if you're really if you're like if you're a Quaid or something. Have you seen Dennis Quaid's Twitter account? I think it's his Twitter account.
I mean, I'm sure I've looked at it once or twice because it was in an article about his Twitter.
Called like the Quaidessance or something, and he's just like, yeah, it's really bizarre. I mean, you're like, oh, okay, yes, he is related to Randy. I get it now.
Oh, okay.
It's not Randy bizarre, but it's weirder than you would think. Let's put it that
Oh
way.
no, I wouldn't think they'd let him have a Twitter if he was Randy Bizarre.
I don't think it's was it the Hollywood whackers that Randy was going on about.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was paranoid to a criminal degree.
Is he just hanging in Canada now, like in a cabin or something?
Yes, I haven't looked into it in a while, but
Okay.
he was like kind of off the scale paranoia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and yeah, because seem to remember him running off to Canada and not hearing anything since. So, for all I know, he's in like the woods of Alberta, you know, like writing a manifesto. So,
I mean, as long as he doesn't hurt himself or other people, he can do what he wants.
oh yeah, yeah. If you're not hurting anyone, hang out in a cabin, write your manifesto. Why not?
Yeah, writing it in poop.
A little stinky there. Not good for the old smell-o-vision. Today it is the first day of August. I guess it's prime baseball season, right? But let's talk about what you're up to.
Okay, well, currently we have a couple of movies. Gonzorific, my friends and I here in Athens, have a couple of movies out that you can watch on streaming on the Plex streaming streaming platform. You can watch our film Space Boobs in Space, and on the Reverie streaming platform, which is exclusive for LGBTQIA filmmakers, and stories, you can watch the movie Bad Girl Dracula. Our current DVD we have for sale is Areola Jones and the Home Video Vixens. And we don't have any shows or convention appearances coming up because I'm working on our next physical release, which is called Jugsaw. And I was originally hoping that would come out in March, but I'm taking my time with it because I don't owe anything to anyone.
Wait, what did you screen at the beginning of July? Oh, you're talking physical release.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
Jigsaw we showed at the beginning of July. We had at the premiere screening at Metropolitan Studios, and that was because we made the bookends of it there, and they offered me to screen it there and as a premiere. And we typically don't have premiere screenings of any of the mixtapes. The only other time we did that was with Space Boobs showed at the Trio Art Gallery. So it's more of just like if someone wants it, we'll bring it. But otherwise, these are best seen either at the film festival that we do each year or viewed at home, just in pieces.
Watch it in pieces. Like you get to chop up your DVD and spread it around on the floor and stare at that for a while.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be interesting to you, especially if you try picking it up with your ass.
This is Time Enough Podcast. It's Time Enough Pod on Twitter and Facebook. On Patreon or Podcastius, where you can also hear us talking about science fiction films, Pokemon, Monster Hunter, and well, I don't talk about those so much, but some people do, and maybe you like that. So some people are into hunting the monsters for sure.
Yes.
You're into knighting the forts, I guess.
I mean, the monsters, they make me happy.
You sure monsters, they make me happy. It's a good place to end.
Oh, okay.
That's why I shut up so I can spot it. Unless you had something else to say. So
No.
I guess I could start saying like next week this episode, but I don't know.
The monsters of Do at Your Mom's House.
I didn't do that earlier, so why should I start doing it now?
Right. Don't add any more work for yourself, man.
Exactly. So hey, that actually that completes season 1. Season 1 is now finished.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. I already
You've
did a
done
World
it.
of Zone. So
Yeah. Well, we're on the way then.
although I gotta find someone else for Nick of Time.
What happened?
There was a technical difficulty in getting the episode. We just rapped about the Twilight Zone for an hour, which is probably a better episode anyway.
Okay.
So actually it worked out for the best probably. So because I'll actually be putting that out probably in the next day or two as just a bonus episode. So
Okay. Well, as long as you explain the lack of Nick of Time, I think that's.
oh no, I don't even have to. Nick of Time doesn't come out till September, so I'll just do that with someone else.
Okay.
and put out when we did a few days ago is the bonus. So because we're like, well, we're all here, we can do the Zoom, we might as well do it. So
yeah, okay.
Didn't let that get in our way.
All right.
Okay, I'll catch you. Like I said, I think the first one, oh yeah, I did want to give the first one of season 2 is so much like the first one of season 1. I was like, I can't even give that one to Andrew. So it's another 1-person episode, right? So I think the first
it's whatever, man. I mean, I will talk about any of them. I do have my kind of favorites or ones that I'm just like, I'd like to watch this again because it's not as good in my memory as some of the other, you know what I mean? So
yeah, the next one I'll bring you in for is Eye of the Beholder. But yeah, there's a 5-week run of basically progressive women. So that's good.
That is great. That's what you want.
Yeah. What were the episodes for that? I'm trying. I don't have the season 2 list just sitting around like I do for season 1. I will soon though.
Okay.
So I have to actually bring up the wiki and go to season 2. Let's see. Then I think about machines. Oh yeah, the stretch from The Man in the Bottle, Nervous Men in a $4 Room, A Thing About Machines, and The Howling Man. It's funny how man is in 3 of those titles too. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, actually. I didn't even notice that till just now. All these man episodes.
Yeah. Jack Warden, one of his last movies had to have been Dirty Work. Wasn't he the dad in Dirty Work?
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Like he was constantly grabbing people in the dick and squeezing it until they're half dead.
You know what? I'm not sure if I've actually seen Dirty Work. Now you're bringing that up.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Should probably get that for get back to that Norm Macdonald phase. But yeah, because he's been watching the Orville, right? Did you watch any of that?
I know what it is, but no, I haven't watched very much.
It definitely it's pretty good. The new season's a little longer, and at first it was like they're kind of padding the episodes, but now they seem to have kind of found a groove. And yeah,
Seth MacFarlane.
That's right. It's sort of it starts off like mildly funny, but it actually sometimes like goes places Star Trek like won't go.
Oh, good. Well, I know enough Star Trek fans that enjoy it, so that's really all the endorsement I needed to hear.
Yeah. So no, it definitely hits the a lot of TNG vibes. You know, Strange New Worlds is out there kind of doing the TOS thing now. So
Yeah.
uh, I don't know if you've seen much of that one. That one just finished their first season.
I was gonna say I watched the first two. I mean, I
Mm.
always check it out when they're new, just to see kind of the lay of the land kind of thing.
But it was the last. Yeah, the Orville kind of interestingly, cause I kind of half shit the bed with one of their first episodes because they have the male aliens and one was born female, and then there's this whole thing and they change it to male at the end. So they in season 3 they got back to that.
Okay. So
And
how many
it's
seasons has the Orville now run for?
they're finishing up their third season. I think
Okay.
I think they just aired 7 out of 10 episodes. So yeah. But yeah, I guess it is probably best to start from season 1, and it is a little more comedic to start off with. But as it goes, actually tends to start getting a little more and more heavy hitting, so to speak. So
Well, that's good. That's actually makes me want to. And 3 seasons isn't that bad.
yeah, so the third season has episodes again about like trans teenagers basically, suicide,
Yeah.
um, really time fucking someone. Actually, that was the last episode I saw. I do you want to have a mild spoiler?
I'm gonna watch it.
Okay, you'll watch it then. Yeah, because that one has a super Twilight Zone ending. So
No, I'm into. I didn't realize that it was still going, and didn't realize that that's why.
yeah,
So that's really cool, actually.
I think this is might be. I think at least Seth MacFarlane's planning on leaving now, even though it's like I played with my toy and now I'm going to do something else. But that doesn't theoretically mean I guess they could continue with the fourth season. They just make some changes.
I was gonna say it could be even better.
Yeah, true. But it seems he wants to go do something, which is fine. I'm like, you make 3 good seasons of sci-fi, and that's enough, really.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, I'll catch you before we're too long. So keep it groovy. Hit the recording.